Hi all, welcome to the video. Knowledge of shell scripting is required in many technical jobs, including roles in DevOps, network engineering, cybersecurity, software engineering, and systems administration. And when you're applying for a job that'll use shell scripting, you could very well be asked shell scripting questions during your technical interviews. To help you prepare, here are 15 shell scripting interview questions you might be asked in a technical interview. Here we go. What is a shell? A shell is a command line interpreter between either a user or an application and the operating system's kernel. The kernel manages and controls access to the computer's resources and hardware. The shell is a layer on top of the kernel that communicates with the kernel to send commands to the hardware. What is a shell script? A shell script is simply a series of shell commands in a plain text file executed sequentially to accomplish a task. Shell scripts allow users to store these commands so they can be run again. What are some popular types of shells? 1. Bourne shell, SH, the original Unix shell and the default for Solaris OS. 2. C shell, CSH, a shell program that uses C syntax. 3rd, Korn shell, KSH, a Unix-based high-level shell program. 4. Born again, shell bash, an open-source shell program found on all Linux-based systems. What is a shebang in a shell script? A shebang is a hash sign followed by an exclamation point and a string that represents the location of the program that will execute it. For example, the following shebang means the script should be run with born again shell, #bin bash. By adding a shebang, you can execute a shell script by calling the file without adding the location of the shell to the command. How do you pass and access arguments in a shell script? You can pass arguments to a shell script to the script by listing them after the name of the script, like this: /myscript, .sh arg1, arg2. Then you can access them in the script with a $sign and a number that indicates the argument's location, like this: $1 equals arg $1 equals arg2. What does $sign do in a shell script? This is a global variable in a shell script that gives you the count of the arguments passed to it. How do you print to the terminal in a shell script? You can print to the command line using echo. Echo, this will print. You can also use tput, which gives you options to change the color of the text and add other text effects to the output. How do you define a variable in a shell script? To define a variable in a shell script, you use the equal sign, and to access the variable, you add a $sign to the name you gave the variable. It looks like this: var equals my variable echo $var #sign prints my variable. How do you print the output of a shell script to a file? You use a greater than sign and the output file in your command after the script file name, like this: /myscript.sh greater than output file.txt. What command will display the contents of a file? The cat command will output the contents of a file. The following command reads one file and then uses the greater than sign to print the results to another file. Command is cat text 1.txt greater than text2.txt. What does a dot period mean at the beginning of a file, and how would you list that file? The dot indicates that the file is hidden. Using the standard ls command to list the files in a directory won't list hidden files. To show them in the list, you have to add the -a option to the command, like this. Command is :ls-a./my directory. What types of loops can you use in a shell script? The 3 types of loops you can use in a shell script are for, while, and until. The for loop loops through a list of items. The while loop executes a loop while a condition returns true and exits once it's false. The until loop executes a loop while a condition is false and exits once it is true. What is a break statement used for? A break statement is used to exit a loop. It's usually used with an if statement to check a condition when the loop should be exited early. How do you determine which shell you're currently using? You can do this by echoing the $sign shell variable with this command: echo $sign shell #sign prints /bin bash. How do you determine which types of shells you have available on your system? You can do this by echoing the $ shell variable with this command. You can do this with the following command: cat/etc/shells. This will output a list of shells like the following: /bin/esh/bin/bash/bin/ch/bin/ksh.